What's up, everybody? Let's turn that mic on. How about that? As I just told Matt, he needed to make sure he unmuted his mic. But it's Tuesday here in the bowling world, and I'm Mike, and Matt's with me again today for episode, I believe it's 7. We were on all last week. We had Randy Peterson on yesterday, which was a great show, and now we're back today. Matt's got his internet working well today, which is great, and we've got a guest today, just like last Thursday. We had Dave Watke. He promoted the living crap out of the show. And today we're going to be joined by Chuck Gardner. We'll get to him in just a few minutes. Matt, how are you doing today? Everything's looking good on your end today.
Yes, I will take full responsibility for, I think, the Facebook stream not working yesterday. So we rerouted all of the internet in my house. We changed everything up, and it's much stronger now. So we probably shouldn't have any, fingers crossed, shouldn't have any problems moving forward here. I'm just excited to sit down, speak with Chuck, learn some new things about Chuck, and have a good time.
Yeah, it's just after 1 Eastern, 11 o'clock where I'm at. We're supposed to see 70-degree weather here today in Utah, so probably going to go out for a little bit of a run or a scooter ride or something. As I've got one of these
run
a little bit, but I got a motorized scooter that
that's right.
That will probably trump what I'm actually going to do today. That's why I'm not in the best shape that I wish I could be in. But hey, folks, if you want to get involved in the program, make sure that as you're watching on Facebook Live and on YouTube, you can just follow along with us, ask your questions throughout. We'll get to as many as we can, but we do have a plethora of questions for Chuck Gardner. We're going to really dive into all things Chuck today. We're going to talk about Bowl for Life with him. We're going to talk about his background in bowling, as well as just how many years he spent out there. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about his racing career. But Matt, also people can get involved with the program. If they want to help support the show, they can head over to InsideBowling.com and they can use the coupon code IBSHOW to save 15% off. If you see something you like, it does help support us. We hope everybody that's out there dealing with repercussions of what we're dealing with in the world with coronavirus right now, hopefully things are looking up. I did see, Matt, to talk some world news here, that a couple of states are going to begin reopening, I believe as early as Friday of this week. And I actually saw there's a new forum on Facebook that Lucas Wiseman started over at Flow Bowling, and we both joined that. We're actually promoting the show on there, so make sure you go check out that forum on Facebook. But he mentioned that some bowling centers have the opportunity to open back up in Georgia. I believe maybe it's either Friday or Monday. What do you think about that, Matt?
I think that's great. I think it's exciting. I think, as long as people are, following the proper precautions and making sure that everybody's still staying safe and staying healthy, it's great. It's great news for people to be able to get out of the house. I just think, again, it's really important that everybody respects the rules and, and takes the proper precautions from still maintaining social distancing from others. Take that opportunity wisely to make sure you can get out of the house, but also be safe at the same time.
Yeah, I really don't know what to think of it at this point. It still feels too early to me just because I'm just like so scared right now with how long this has been. But it's definitely going to be something we want to keep an eye on as we move forward. We know a lot of proprietors out there, a lot of pro shops need to reopen soon to be able to just be alive. So looking forward to seeing what happens over the next few months. Hopefully we're getting over the hump, and hopefully all these other internet shows go away and we steady the course and we dominate this space online.
Yes. That's when they all got to start bowling events and running a bowling center and producing bowling balls. And Inside Bowling, we're just chilling here. We're here for the long haul, folks.
We won't have any guests because they'll all be too busy for us. So just be us every day. We'll just critique the jobs they're all doing. Maybe.
Yes, exactly. We'll sit here on our little perch known as StreamYard, and we'll just critique everything else that's going on.
Yeah, we've got another guy standing by sitting on a perch. He's lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's known as a few different nicknames out there, Chuck on the Truck, Chuck Gardner. He's just about somebody that you really can't find too many bad things about. I spent a lot of time last night trying to find some dirt on this guy, and I even spent all night calling people on the phone, and nobody had anything bad to say about this guy. So with no further ado, let's bring in our friend Chuck Gardner. Chuck, welcome to the program today from beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
And we didn't know you were going to bring a celebrity on with you. Otherwise,
Yeah.
for introduction. Do you want to introduce your celebrity?
Well, this is the 2019 Queens champion, Dasha Kovalyova. So really happy to have Dasha here with me.
This is where we can use that soundboard and like sirens like new, 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 or some applause or whatever.
Every day it gets brought up.
I don't think she'll say a lot, but she's,
Well, she's soft spoken anyway, right?
She is. She is very soft spoken.
Behind the scenes, she can talk a little bit. But Chuck, welcome to the program, man. Thanks for supporting our show. We know you've been watching it. Could you give us your online critique of how our show is going thus far? And you can be as critical as you like, buddy, because I've got a notepad right here and post-it notes, and I'm ready to take some notes on how to get better. What do you got for us? How can we do a better job?
Well, I think the number one thing is Matt's got to do a better job spelling people's name.
You know what? Do we have to go there? Do we have to go there? We're 8.5 minutes in here, and you already have to throw me under the
bus. I would say that the only critique I would have would be, Mike, your hair. Your hair is a little crazy, man. I think you should take a little work on that. But listen, I've really enjoyed the show. I've been on. I've had a great time listening to it, and I love the things that you guys do. You guys do such a great job in general on social media. A wonderful job for the brands, the 4 brands that were EBI that are now part of Brunswick. You guys do a great job with that. I think you guys do a fantastic job, and Matt has a lot of personality. And I think his personality is showing through. So I'm really like it.
Yeah, I'm grooming him to take over the entire company. So it'll be a matter of time here. Probably about 10
years. Matter of time.
You'll be emailing Matt about that. But Chuck, we're just absolutely excited to have you here on the program. We want to talk about a plethora of different things. Matt's got some tougher questions for you a little bit later too. That'll make you think a little bit, maybe get a little emotional about some things. But
okay.
I think the first thing that I wanted to get into here today is a moment that I just recently watched. My most recent moment of you. That was a big time moment, and that was the PBA awards ceremony just not too long ago here, where you received the Tony Reyes award, Community Service Award, I believe is what it was called, for all you've done with Bowl for Life. And you were getting emotional up there when you were accepting that speech. Can you talk a little bit about what that award meant to you?
Well, I mean, it meant the world to me. To be recognized by my peers, by the PBA, for the work that my family and I have put in, and to get an award named after my great friend Tony Reyes was huge. Tony and I were wonderful friends. So just getting the award was a huge deal for me. And I just think it was cool for the Bowl for Life kids too, to know that people are recognizing their contributions to bowling through their essays and all the things that they do to try and win the scholarships. And it's just neat. It's really a gratifying thing to know that your hard work and trying to do what's best for bowling, and not trying to make it about anything except for doing what's best for bowling, still got recognized. It didn't take any chest beating or any, oh my God, I'm so amazing, or it didn't take any of that stuff. It just took, some hard work and belief and commitment to doing the right thing, and it got recognized. And it's really awesome.
Yeah, Bowl for Life started in 2013, according to your website. There's a lot of different ways people can get involved with that. You can just go make a personal donation. You can also get in the silver, the gold, I believe it's the platinum tiers. And I want to announce right now here on this show, as I saw that I had to email Deborah Gardner to get involved with being a sponsor of the program. But I don't want to spend much time on this because that's not what it's about. But we are, as Inside Bowling, going to become a silver level sponsorship. $250 is how you can do that. We're going to do it right after the show with you guys and make sure that we get that donation sent over. We'll do it every year. Times are a little tough right now. We'd like to do a little bit more, but we do want to get involved with Bowl for Life and apologize we didn't do it sooner because we should have been doing it for a while. So we're excited to do that.
Well, thank you guys so much. Yeah, every bit helps. Our sponsors are so important to us succeeding with our goals. And we started out setting some pretty modest goals, and our first year, I don't even know what we gave away our first year, but 2 years ago, our goal was 25,000, and we gave away around 30 or so. Last year, our goal was 50,000, and we got to 67,000, I think, last year. And this year, our goal is $100,000, and we're on our way. And I think what's fun is that we've already had 2 monthly giveaways since the pandemic started, and tried to brighten some people's days by going live and giving out these scholarships. We've given out $10,000 in the last 40 days or so. $5,000 a month since January. So we're really trying to focus on staying on course, and obviously we can't do it without our sponsors. And so thank you guys so much for becoming a part of it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I see Matt over there getting pretty excited about this. I know it's a big thing for you, Matt, since you help a lot of youth bowlers and collegiate programs. Your thoughts on Bowl for Life and what Chuck and his group has been able to do so far?
I think it's incredible. I think that a lot of kids out there want to go and they want to bowl collegiately. A lot of kids want to have that experience where they want to get out there, not only just bowl collegially, they want to be able to receive an education. They want to be able to kind of have, the ideal college experience that any youth bowler wants to have. And it's no secret that college is expensive nowadays. It's no secret that, there are opportunities out there without question to earn scholarship money as a youth bowler. However, I don't think there'll ever be enough, right? I don't think there's ever going to be enough opportunities for kids to go out there and to earn scholarship money. And I think knowing, my history and my background, I would have loved to been able to, to learn more about Bowl for Life, or to have something like Bowl for Life when I was getting ready to go to college, to possibly receive some scholarships, because it makes a big difference for kids. And like Chuck said, it's about more than just the bowling itself. It's about rewarding kids for their hard work in the classroom, in the community, as well as on the lanes. And that's something that's really important to me. And I know that's obviously important to Chuck. It's important to you, Mike. And I think that it's incredible that, that there is some sort of platform, some sort of organization that people can turn to in order to receive and to be recognized for their hard work.
Yeah, I think you said it well there. And one other thing that I think that we should say about Bowl for Life is I like how the entire industry has gotten behind this. There's a lot of times, especially with ball manufacturers, where it's a competition. They really are the true sports teams in bowling, and you don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers giving the playbook to the New England Patriots per se. But in this particular case, you've been branded Brunswick for a multitude of years, and you have other bowling ball companies that are coming on board. As a matter of fact, you shared with us yesterday in our show prep that you're going to be on Storm's program in the near future. So it's very, very cool how you've been able to carve out this little space that transcends all the brands together, and you've been able to bring everybody together for the good of helping kids be able to go to college through bowling scholarships. Good on you, Chuck.
Thanks. It was a focus when we started. The first T-shirt we ever made, we made a T-shirt, and the focus was to break down barriers. And the back of the T-shirt showed like a wall of rocks getting broken down, and it's breaking down barriers. And and we wanted to do that. We wanted to break down the barriers of branding and things like that. And I'm really proud that Brunswick has been supportive of Storm being involved, and all the jersey companies have been involved, really supportive of other jersey companies being involved, and just so we've really worked together as a group, and knowing that it's really just for the good of the kids, and it's not about Storm or Brunswick, or it's about the kids.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to those companies as well. We've had some guests lined up for this week, and we've been very, very involved with Ebonite International, and now the Brands of Brunswick, the 7 brands. And for the ability to have Randy Peterson on yesterday, we're going to have Carolyn Doran-Ballard on Friday, Stu Williams and Chris Barnes. We're trying to do the same thing here. So a shout out to any of those other companies are watching. Thank you for allowing your folks to come on, and we're going to reach out to some Motive folks as well, EJ and probably Brett Spangler. So
awesome.
So we'll have some more guests on, but moving right along here, Chuck, I want to talk a little bit about, it's always about kind of Chuck on the truck, this tour rep guy, the bowl for life guy, but there's a lot more to you in your life that's happened. And there's some interesting things here that I want to ask you that I've never really had the opportunity to, and hopefully everyone enjoys a few of these questions I have for you. The first
boy.
is you were a competitive bowler. I mean, you were a scratch bowler. When did you start bowling? And tell us a little bit about your bowling career leading up to getting a job in the industry.
I was a decent bowler. I have, I don't know, a whole bunch of 300s, 800s. I bowled regionals. I was very competitive. I made the national resident pro team back many years ago. I bowled on tour off and on, made some finals, never made any shows. But I was an okay bowler. I wasn't a great bowler. I started bowling when I was a young kid, and grew up bowling with all the South Florida guys, with Del Warren and Joe Firpo and Jimmy Keith and Ron Dixon, and even the further south guys, Rob Comito and Storm DeVincent and all those guys. So I grew up in that environment down in South Florida, and I was a decent player. I wasn't great. I bowled on tour for a few years, and then in 2002, I bowled a good part of the season, and about halfway through the season, and I got an opportunity from Columbia. I was on staff with Track on tour, and I got an opportunity from Del Warren and the folks at Columbia to become the tour rep. Asked me if I wanted to share my what I've learned over the years. I owned a pro shop. I was part of a chain of pro shops at one point, and so I got an opportunity to, in my view, mentor young people. That's kind of how I looked at it, and in 2002, and that's what I've done pretty much since.
Yeah. So was it difficult for you to transition from giving up on your bowling career dreams? Because obviously you wanted to win a national title, otherwise you wouldn't keep pursuing it, right, at a higher degree level. Like, was that tough for you to do, or was it a natural fit for you?
It really felt right. I'm not sure how come it felt so right, because I was still fairly competitive. Actually, the week that Del talked to me about it, I bowled really, really well in Wichita, and I was getting ready to actually bowl match play the next morning, and Del reached out to me that night, and we talked for a little while, and it started out that I could still continue to bowl and just kind of help out, and it kind of evolved from there pretty quickly, because I felt I only bowled a couple of tournaments while I was trying to rep, and it was really uncomfortable, and I just didn't I didn't feel like I was giving it everything I could give on either side, and I didn't want to be a donator and just be a guy that was out there taking up space, and I wanted to. I got really. It felt right to do it. I just felt like this is kind of what I was meant to do, and I said, you know what, I'm just not going to bowl. and it was enjoyable. I really had a great time. And then I bowled a little bit after EBI bought Columbia Track, and I bowled some regionals and bowled really well. And I bowled a couple senior stops because it was about the time that I was turning 50. Well, the senior stops actually was once I started back with once I started with Brunswick, but I bowled well. I made a couple cuts. I only bowled 5 or 6 tournaments on the senior tour, and I made the cuts in most of them, and bowled pretty good at a few events, and qualified really well in one. And for that wonderful job qualifying, I think it was second or third at the Villages one year, and I got my prize in the morning was bowling Walter Ray, and I'm like, oh, what a prize! Thank you, thanks for bowling good. And but I just it just felt right, and I don't bowl really at all anymore. I haven't thrown a ball for score in a couple of years, so it's I miss it. But I also don't have the time to practice, and I don't want to stink. You know what I mean? I don't want to go and bowl a tournament or go and bowl something and just stink. I can't do that. It's not comfortable. So I really just don't bowl.
I've had people ask me over the years, and I'm from St. Louis, so I'm a Cardinal guy. And when people ask me the question the most, this was my answer. So I'm dating myself a few years. But people used to say, Mike, how's your bowling game? And I'm like, what bowling game? I don't have time. I'm constantly working in the industry. And they're like, well, aren't you a hypocrite? How can you not be bowling? But yeah, you're promoting bowling all the time and you don't do it yourself. That's a hypocrite. And I'm like, okay, let me ask you a question. If Tony La Russa, okay, after he got done managing the Cardinals, right, after the game, is he going to go play softball with his buddies? No, he doesn't have time to do that. So that's kind of what it's like for us. It does kind of suck. I will tell you that I've recently reconnected with going bowling with a friend of mine who runs our shirts here. We've been going bowling and doing some glow bowling, like just at the end of the day, 8-9 o'clock at night, all you can bowl. And we've been shutting the place down. I mean,
really?
We're the last ones out of there, because once I get in there and start get the competitive juices going, it's fun to get out there and bowl again. So I've been having fun in my own way, but there's no way you or I or Matt or anybody that works in the industry that travels so much can commit themselves to any sort of league or anything. So those that are watching that are league bowlers, we envy you a little bit. We wish we could just go out and bowl like we used to, but because we've dedicated ourselves to this, there's not as much time.
And we also thank you, all you league bowlers, and we thank you very much, because otherwise we don't get to work in the industry and do what we get to do.
Good point. 37 years you told us that you've been a PBA member. 37 years straight. You still buying the card every year? You still a member?
Yep, I still am. I think it's the right thing to do, even though I'm not competitive anymore. I think it's the right thing to do to support the PBA, and I believe in the PBA. I believe in every level of our sport. That's people ask me all the time, well, isn't it weird if you give pointers to someone that's not very good because you've coached Walter Ray and Parker Bone and all those guys? Isn't it weird that no, it's not. It's I believe in every single level of our sport. I believe in glow bowling. I believe in the centers that focus on just having recreational bowling. I believe in that. I believe in every aspect of our sport. If people are throwing a ball down the lane, I'm thrilled. And I think so. Supporting the PBA is, I think, the least I can do. I support IPSIA. I support all of the entities of our sport as much as I possibly can. We're IPSIA members with my son's pro shops, and so we try and do everything we can to. I don't want to be a hypocrite, right? I may not have time to bowl, but I certainly can support our industry and support our sport.
Well, that's awesome, man. A lot of good stuff there. Matt has, this is about the time in the program that I like to hand the show off to Matt a little bit and let him control the show for a little while. We discussed some questions for you, and I'm going to turn the show over to Matt now to get down in the weeds a little bit with some put you on the spot questions here. So Matt, take it away.
Okay.
All right, Chucky, you ready to get these creative juices flowing, man?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So
I can't do what Randy did yesterday.
No, we're not going to have you commentate over some ostrich races. We're not going to have you do anything ridiculous like that. I just want to, I think it's always fun to think sometimes of some hypothetical questions, to think of, like what if kind of questions. So Mike and I were talking, and we've a lot of things have changed recently. You've got the Open Championships and the Women's Championships. Things have been postponed or pushed back. We've had youth events that have been canceled. So it's kind of something we've been talking about quite a bit on the show here, and just Mike and I in private. And it led us to think about, Chuck, you don't bowl anymore, but if you bowled the Open Championships right now this year, which 4 bowlers would you want to bowl with, and who would you want to bowl doubles with?
Oh, that's easy. I would bowl with the same team that I bowled with when I finished second. We finished second in team a few years ago, and I would bowl with that same team again. It's a bunch of cronies from South Florida. I don't think we can bowl together anymore, but I would love to bowl with Ron Dixon, Tony Yarborough, Del Warren, and Joe Firpo. We had an absolute hoot, and we did finish second, and we were the team that finished second in that controversial year where Brian Smith's team got to bowl the day they weren't even scheduled to bowl. They got to bowl unopposed, and they got to bowl by themselves. So it was, unopposed by themselves. So it was really controversial. I think even a couple of employees got fired over it. But that was, we finished second that year. It was really cool going down to the 10th frame, how well we bowled in the 10th frame to take the lead. Yeah. And Joe Firpo got up and just, it was magical to watch.
Cool. Yeah, so the Open Championships is an experience that I think everybody should have. If you're a bowler, regardless of your average, and regardless of whether you're a 140, 150 average bowler, or you're good enough to go out and bowl collegiately or on some amateur stuff or some professional stuff, I think it's an incredible experience for anybody to go out and to have. And I bowled with Ron Dixon actually a couple of times, and what a great guy.
Oh yeah.
And also, also got to have a near eagle experience with John Gaines. We bowled doubles together one year, and we had a really good shot with a couple frames left, and unfortunately, I think we finished like 8th or something. But like you said, coming down to the wire and having to go up there and to make shots. And, it's not like winning a tour title where maybe you'll win $30,000, $50,000, $100,000. It's really about the prestige of going there and winning an Eagle. So I think that what you said totally resonates with me. And that sounds like a killer team. We definitely wouldn't be able to bowl together anymore, but
no,
it would be a fun time.
It was a blast. We bowled together for many years actually, and it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed bowling together.
That's great. So let's shift gears here a little bit. We talked a lot about Bowl for Life, which I think is an incredible organization and an incredible thing that you do for the sport of bowling. In regards to youth bowling, there are more college programs now than there have ever been, right? College bowling has grown significantly over the course of the last decade. If you had to give some suggestions out there of some colleges, there are a lot of incredible colleges. What are the few or the really elite ones that come to your mind when you first think about college bowling that you would suggest to youth bowlers?
Well, if you think, a few years ago, or you think today, it's a different group, right? So, a few years ago, Saginaw Valley was like one of the places to go. Obviously, Wichita is probably the greatest program ever. And Nebraska, had a great program for many, many years. But now, when you look at today, you look at, the McKendree Bearcats. I mean, they are unbelievable. They've got great coaching. They've got great leadership. I would say obviously Weber has done unbelievable things. Bob Learn is developing a great program down there in Tennessee,
Yep.
and so I think there's a lot of great programs out there. And I think if I was giving a young person advice, I would try and seek out a program where they feel like they could make a difference to the program.
Mhm.
I think I think I think it's just the whole college bowling experience is just so cool. If I was 10, 15 years younger, that's what I'd be doing. Maybe 20 years younger. That's what I'd be doing. I would be coaching a college team. There's no ifs. I think it's yeah, Lindenwood. Someone just put up Lindenwood as well. Absolutely. Lindenwood was
Yeah, there's just there's so many great colleges, and like you were saying, just you got to figure out where you make a difference, where you would have an impact, what would suit you well, like what would fit your desires. Are you looking to bowl? Are you looking to be a part of a big program where you can get better and improve and get really good coaching? Are you looking to go to a school mainly for academics that has a certain major, but you still want to bowl inside? So like you're saying, you just have to find what matches up well for you and talk to different coaches, do your research, and figure out kind of where you stand.
I had a decent experience. I thought a great experience actually with Pikeville for a few years. When Ron Dameron, I don't know if Ron's still the coach there or not. I don't think he is.
I don't
But
think so.
Ron Dameron was the coach there, and I would go at the beginning of the season and spend actually 2 days there and help them out. It was fun. I had a great time. I met a lot of great people there, and got to spend some time with some of the players and the coaches there, and that was a really rewarding experience too. And obviously, I've got to do a few things around the Weber team with Dell kind of being my best friend since we were little kids. So don't hold that against me, anybody.
Oh, that's funny. Dell's a great guy, and it's interesting to think you've been around almost every part of the industry. Really, you've been involved on the corporate side of things. You've been out on tour as a bowler, as a rep, and I'm sure, and I know for a fact that you've seen a lot of things. What are some of the crazier things that you've seen in the bowling world? Probably we'll go with craziest moments that you've seen out on the lanes, like somebody doing something extraordinary, either striking to win or missing a spare, something that pops out at you.
Well, I would say one of the biggest moments that I think was pretty unbelievable was when Mika missed a 10-pin
Mm,
in Jersey. That was like mind-boggling to me. As great a spare shooter as Mika is and always has been, that was kind of an amazing experience to like, wow, I can't believe that happened. But things being a part of, I would think Johnny Petraglia winning in the sixth decade was pretty amazing. Getting to hang out with Chris Barnes when he won his first major, the U.S. Open in New Jersey. I had just become the rep actually for Columbia a few months before that. That was pretty cool. Obviously, Ryan Simonelli's U.S. Open was a huge deal, and I would say Dasha winning the Queens and then shooting 300 on TV. I've been a part of some neat things, and just to have the experience of being part of some of those things are just Jonathan Van Hees winning his title.
that was a great win.
What a great win.
Good guy, Matt Ogle winning his first title.
Matt Ogle winning the doubles.
Such a feel good story.
Yeah, I've just been so lucky. Just so lucky. And just being a part of so many great people and being just a small piece of their experiences. It's been quite rewarding.
That's great. Now let's speaking of seeing things, let's bring the other guy who's seen quite a bit in the industry back on, Mr. Mike Flanagan, my co-host here. What do you have to say to what Chuck just touched on? So many great points about college bowling, about professional bowling, the Open Championships. Talking about a lot here, Mike. I know you always have something to say. Always have something to say.
Chuck's answer about the collegiate programs, you put him on the spot there, which I liked because there's so many great programs and he's touched so many of them, and his list is so long. How do I name them all? So it's always a difficult predicament. But his answer was spot on regarding what can you do for the program and how do you fit within the program. So I thought that was awesome. And I was just upset that you didn't ask Dasha a question, Matt. That was really your big rookie mistake here. As I take over the program. I mean, she's right there. I mean,
right there.
How could you miss that?
You know, I know she's kind of a woman of few words, and I didn't want to kind of like fluster her with a question. She's coming on with a guest just to like spectate, see what we're about. And I was hoping that we could maybe get Dasha as a guest one day. And if I felt like if I asked her a question and put her on the spot, she'd be like, "Who's this clown asking me a question? I'm a major champion. He's not
right.
That's true. I don't know why he's even asking me, why am I here? You know." So I was playing the long haul, Mikey.
She is promoting her college program though, right here.
Yeah, with her black and yellow.
Yeah, with her black and yellow.
We have a very interactive program. We do like to get to questions. We've seen a bunch of them coming in. One of the greatest of all times in Brunswick history, Rick Barbera has been watching the show each day. We all love and know Rick.
Absolutely.
We had a long discussion last week with Wadka regarding being on pro staff. How do you approach requests for non-staff bowlers looking for help? And then Rick often serves you one up here. I don't think I've ever seen you turn someone down.
No, I haven't. You know,
that inbox is going to be full of emails and messages after this show is over. Attaboy,
Attaboy. Well, I will tell you that my whole belief though about helping players is, and I'll tell you how it started real quickly. I used to read a lot of stuff on social media about all the players complaining that all the great players get all the help, and you know, they get unlimited balls and they get all this help and they get this and they get that and they get this, and there's no chance for us that aren't great players to get help. So I commented one time and I said, I'll tell you what, if you're at a PBA event and you need some help, you need some advice, you need to talk, I'm there. Whatever you need, whatever you want, I don't want you to have that as an excuse. So there's a reason that, you know, all these guys get all the things they get, right? Because they've earned it. They've worked hard. And again, I'm not criticizing anybody that's not on staff with the company. But I've never told anybody, no, I won't help you. That's never happened. And it won't. I have told some people they can't get a ball. And that hasn't gone over really well a few times, but at the end of the day, I believe in if you can give someone some guidance and give someone some help, that if you're lucky enough to be in the position I'm in, that it's kind of you should help. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. Well, good question from Rick Barbera. We also had a lengthy question / I mean, it covers the whole screen here. Bob says, "Hey Chuck, being the guy that supports all levels of bowling, please help promote the bowlers who participate in each of their Olympic style state games through the National Congress of State Games and the State Games of America that holds yearly and biannual tournaments each year. He bowls in Wisconsin. He's got 8 gold medals, 7 silver medals. Wow, accomplished bowler here through the Badger State Olympic Games, all with Brunswick equipment. Thanks again for all you do, Chuck."
Bob, that is awesome. Congratulations, man. And please reach out to me. Whatever I can do to help, I'll be more than happy to help.
If you ever go on the stop, I mean, just stop up on the truck. Chuck will, get you a couple cases.
Yeah, heck yeah. Bob, yeah, please do, man. I would absolutely love to help in any way I can. I believe in helping our sport, whatever it is. I've actually had a decent amount of involvement in the Special Olympics for several years, and I absolutely enjoy that. I really enjoy that. It's fun.
Chuck, this is a perfect transition because this is what I was just about to say, Matt. A great job producing here. I mentioned on the very first program that we did during beta testing week that Matt was going to talk about bowling and I was going to talk about everything but bowling. And I say that in jest and as a joke. However, I know that you and I both share a passion, and you have a passion. I mean, you've got a lot more experience in this than I do. I'm a novice over here. I'm just a fan. But my brother used to race street stocks back when I was a youngin'. And I know you've got a bit of a racing background, a prolific racing background is what I like to call. So I want to talk to you about racing for a little bit. You raced dirt and some asphalt back in the day.
Yes, sir.
And you did that, as you told me before the show. You were doing that in the Carolinas and in Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Tell everybody a little bit about your racing background and your passion for racing.
Well, I was a race fan. I was a huge race fan, and I got very fortunate to buy a bowling center through a really wonderful opportunity for me in a small town called Franklin, Virginia, back in the late 80s, early 90s. And they had a local racetrack starting to open there. It was a dirt track. And my head mechanic and myself decided we were going to get involved in doing some fun racing. And we just went out and had a kind of a beater car, and we really enjoyed it. And the beater car didn't last very long. I'm so competitive that I wanted to go out and try and win races. And so we built a car, and we moved into it's called a limited sportsman class. So we went right from enduros to a limited sportsman class, which is second from the top of the classes on dirt. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. We won a few races, and we co-branded with the racetrack. So people that when they finished racing that night could come to to the bowling center and bowl. Or I also had a sports bar in the same shopping center about 10 or 12 doors down. We had a sports bar, and we had live entertainment on Friday and Saturday nights. So they could come with their racetrack band, and they could get in for free, and they could come and bowl a game for free. So we co-branded with the Speedway. And so we had a great relationship with them. And after a few years, we won some races. And I decided.
When you say you won some races, who drove the car?
I did.
You did.
Absolutely.
You drove the car.
Yes, sir. So I drove the car.
We won some races. Your team won, but you drove the vehicle.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I love racing.
You got your first checkered flag, and you got to take a victory lap.
Yeah.
What was that like? It
was an absolute ball. I wonder if I could take this thing over here real quick. Am I still tuned in?
Yeah. Well, he kind of was.
Well, that didn't
I got him fired up.
I exited the stream because I know nothing about racing.
I know.
Style. I was going to let you guys have at it, and
he'll be back. He'll hook this. He'll hook this back up.
Wow, man, what a cool feeling that must be. I mean, it's fun to win at anything, and to win at racing, that's crazy.
Dude, I play video games online, and I play Gran Turismo Sport. I'm actually playing with Brad Miller these days. That's the name drop there, and some buddies of mine and my brother.
Yeah, there's been a lot of name dropping today.
Yeah, but whenever I win at Gran Turismo, it's a huge feeling for me. So I can't imagine what it would be like to actually, he's running this bowling center, owns this bowling center and this sports bar. They decide he and his mechanic are just going to start running races, and then he's going to drive the car. And then he goes out and wins a few races. That's like incredible.
Yeah, Chuckapreneur.
Yeah.
And he's like a racer, bowler, bowling alley owner, sports bar. He's doing it all, man. And that's cool. That's cool to see. And I think, while we wait for Chuck to get back here to hook everything back up, hook it all back up. I think it's important to note I can't stop laughing because this is just hilarious. I think it's important to note, Mike, and to go back to something that we were talking about earlier. And, it's the fact that when everybody works together here, right? There's always a lot of competition. There's competition between different companies, competition between different live streams, competition between different bowlers, right? It's all very competitive, and we all understand that. Yet when everybody works together and we grow the pie as an industry, we grow the pie collectively, there's more for everybody else to then go and grab. And I think that, stuff like Bowl for Life with Chuck is the perfect example of that, right? Is when we have support from, or when Bowl for Life has the support from jersey companies and has the support from bowling ball manufacturers and has the support of all these different organizations within the sport of bowling, there's all of a sudden so much more money for kids to then go and to receive in the form of a scholarship. And, when people, again, they collaborate, they have different people from different organizations on a live stream, it leads to more knowledge being put out there for all these different bowlers. So I think it's just important to note that, while it is competitive and while, everybody's trying to win, do their best, it's also still important to not forget that we have to work together to grow everything together.
Yeah. And I think that if more people are doing that, more people get turned on to bowling instead of turned off to bowling. I mean, it's really kind of how it works, I think.
Yep.
This is great. This is great.
This.
So what I'm wondering is, do you think Chuck, since he disconnected, do you think that he went and grabbed all of the things that he wanted to show, and he's got them all piled around Dasha?
I hope that when we bring him back on here, when he comes back on here, that he's just like swarmed. We showed that video yesterday of the dog and the thing of tennis balls, and Randy was commentating. I hope that's kind of just like Chuck with all of his trophies.
That would be great.
All of his sports memorabilia that he has there.
This is a great opportunity to tell people too that if you haven't seen any of our first 6 episodes, they're all archived on our YouTube channel, and they're also available on our Facebook page. And we're considering also just turn them into audio files and uploading them as a podcast form, but we haven't got there yet. There's a lot of visuals we have on the screen that are pretty important to this. So that people may get lost with if it was just in audio form. We can also tease who we're going to be having for the rest of the week on our show at this point, as we hope Chuck is trying to come back, and we'll finish the rest of the show with him. We'll give him the rest of the show when he does come back. Tomorrow we're going to have the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, who used to come on my Inside Bowling show all the time back when I started 10 years ago with Doug Lakey. I was actually maybe going to even reach out to Doug and see if he wanted to join us tomorrow for old time's sakes, but Tom Clark is going to join us tomorrow. So that's going to be a fun show with Tom. You want to talk about a memory like an elephant. He knows everything about PBA history. So we're going to really dive into some PBA stuff and check in on his ping pong playing with he and his son, Rory, that they've been doing live streaming. And we're also going to talk a little bit about just everything, like all the best moments of PBA history that he's seen. And he remembers everybody's birthdays, all those sorts of things. So that's going to be a real treat. And then coming up on Thursday, we're going to have Beef and Barnesy. And they'll be our first 2-time guests, 2 people at one time. So that'll be interesting to see how we navigate that one. And I'm sure that they're going to continue to rip on me over this mock draft that we did last Friday, because they totally disagree with my strategy. So that'll be fun to talk about.
We're going to pull that up again on Thursday and talk about it. For anybody that didn't tune in yesterday, Mike had a strategy in the PBA mock draft last week on the Beef and Barnesy show where he was able to draft a team from scratch, and he drafted all 5 lefties, which was, again, like Mike said, was not agreed with, was made fun of. And Mike, the good thing about them coming on our show is we have the ability to pull them off the stream. Like boom, I just took Mike off the stream. He's gone. So if anybody has anything to say about your strategy, Mike, we can just pull them off.
Yeah, we could try to figure that out. Yeah, I'll let you do that, crack producer guy. and then on Friday, we have our first female guest, and we wanted to pull somebody out that is unique. And we got Carolyn Doran Ballard for Friday. We wanted to pull somebody who's one of the greatest of all times. She had a period of time on the Professional Women's Bowlers Association where she was dominant for a period of a couple of years, and we'll have those stats and dig into that. She's also super involved in the industry now with Turbo, and also as a Rotogrip staffer, and is heavily involved with a lot of different things, including Ballards versus the Big C. So it'll be great to have her on as well on Friday. Yeah, I just sent Chuck a note. His whole internet might be down just in general. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he was hardwired in and he disconnected the Ethernet cable. And
let me see if I can go over here.
We should have been like, no, don't go. Don't
leave it to me to,
go.
here's where the interview's going after this, right? Just to give everybody a precursor so you can get your questions ready. The PWBA for the last couple of years has had their final event at Richmond Raceway, right? So
Yeah.
I really wanted to see what that's like for Chuck. Does he get the itch when he goes back there?
Yeah, I think I think he's gotta get that itch, Like, I don't know. Racing has never been big for me in my life because I think just where I'm from. But man, it seems cool. When you get into it and you start learning more about it, it gets really cool. So I'm sure that's probably, all the events that have been held at the Richmond Raceway over the course of the past couple of years with the ladies tour. It's probably been a really cool experience, Probably lights that fire up back inside of him and kind of gets him the racing bug again.
Matt, you just recently had a birthday here.
Are you
What's
going
it?
to sing me happy birthday here to make the time pass by?
No,
Or?
no, I don't think I'm going to do that. But I do want to know, how did you spend your birthday? Like, what's birthday like
You
in
know,
quarantine?
yeah, it was first, hopefully my first and last birthday in quarantine. It was different. It was weird, not really able to go anywhere, not being able to hang out with anybody, not being able to see certain people. It was weird, it was weird, but I did get some really cool gifts. I got this. My girlfriend got me this really cool. I don't know if you can see it's kind of blowing some.
Oh, we see it. We
Yeah.
see it
So
there.
it smells so good, dude. It smells like lemon. I've got the lemon scent in there right now.
You had eucalyptus in the other day, didn't
I
you?
did. Yep, I had eucalyptus in the other day. I've got this big old set of my oils here. I've got some different oils, and then I also got a really great laptop bag. I got a bunch of edible arrangement fruit. So,
Edible arrangements, nice.
oh yeah, yeah. I
You
don't know
eat
what they
melon,
do.
like melons or
Strawberries, pineapples.
mango? Mango?
Yeah, I got some. No mango. It was just strictly strawberries and pineapples. That's kind of where I rock. That's really my sweet spot when it comes to chocolate covered fruit. So, thank you to everybody saying happy belated birthday, Mike. This is a big time question coming in here. Big time question for the people that don't really know Mike. Um, are you ever going to talk about your sports card collection? Maybe we should have an episode dedicated just solely to all of the things that you own, like the Funko dolls that are hanging up behind you, all those little squares back there. So those are things called Funko dolls.
Yeah, so I don't have children of my own, right? And I'm just a big kid at heart, and things that make put me in a happy spot are when I think about when I was a child, because life was much simpler then, right? So if you look over my shoulder over here, there's some Mask toys, which was made by Kenner back in the 80s, and that was my favorite cartoon. So I've recently picked up some Mask toys on eBay, new in the box, not new in the box, used in the box, and I have some of those back there. And every time I look at them, it reminds me of when life was simpler when I was a kid and some of those moments. And I've been trying to retrace my entire history of my life in a Google Calendar of like where I was for different birthdays, what I did, how we celebrated, big events, Christmases, what type of toys I received, when I was confirmed, when I was baptized, all these sorts of things. I'm trying to put together a timeline because I lost my mother last year, and my father has, I believe he had coronavirus in January. They said it was double pneumonia, but this coronavirus wasn't really too big of a thing at the time. He almost died in the hospital. So I'm trying to retrace my steps in my childhood. And a lot of things that help me do that and get my brain firing is going back and being a kid at heart. So behind me, I have a bunch of Funkos just because that's kind of like the thing to collect over the last few years. And I've got like all four Wayne Gretzky's because he was a Blue for like a half a season because I'm
Yeah.
a big Blues fan. I've got a bunch of the mascots from baseball. I'm just a huge sports fan. I've got some bowling pins signed back there. I've got, some Days of Thunder toys because Days of Thunder is my favorite movie of all time. And part of the reason is I was a big Tom Cruise fan. I'm a big racing fan, hence why I was asking Chuck about those questions today. And it was also the year that my parents got divorced. And I remember when my parents were fighting, my brother took me to go see that movie twice. It's the only movie I've ever seen in the movie theater twice, which is ironic as well. So there's a lot of sentimental value in that. So all
Yeah.
those things are parked out behind me back there. I've also got like four really, really rare bowling balls. As a matter of fact, one of them, Dan Sheppy, it's his. I have it on loan. And he was watching the show today. It's a 16-pound critical mass code red pearl that never came out to the public. And he had one when it was on the PWBA truck, and he snagged it because I guess they couldn't use them or whatever. And he brought it to the IB Open the first year as he helped commentate and gave it to me and said, "Hey, hold on to this for me." So I have it. It's right back here on my shelf.
Wow.
I'll bring it on the broadcast on another day.
That's cool.
And then also I've got sports cards back here because a buddy of mine, Steve Orff, you may know the great Ray Orff and his son Rich and Steve Orff and Andrew Orff as well. The Orff family, Andrew Orff, honorable mention, McKendree.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Oh, wow. It's mine.
It's yours.
Mine.
It's
I gotta
yours.
get it. I gotta get it. Chuck's back too.
Chuck's back. He's on a different device.
Oh, sorry, guys.
No.
No.
Here's the
So
thing.
make sure everything is okay.
Here's what we love about this, right? You took a risk today. We can't ever move forward without taking risks. You tried to show us all these things, and now you're mobile. So what do you got for us? Oh my.
Nice.
Is that your first win?
My first ever win.
Is that a Mountain Dew car?
The Mountain Dew car, baby.
Wow.
So
yeah, take us around. This is like MTV Cribs. InsideBowling Cribs right here.
There's the pit crew. There's what the car looked like. So the nose tore off of it. And
you were beating that thing up.
Yeah, man. But here's some pictures of our late models.
Wow.
Wow, that is cool.
You drove that car on asphalt?
I did.
You drove the #1 car right there.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Was that like ARCA or something?
No, it was actually late model stock car.
Okay.
I was working on a Hooters Pro Cup car at the same time, and it looked exactly like that.
Man, that is awesome. Did you ever win on asphalt?
I never won on asphalt. Nope, I never did. Unfortunately.
Best finish on asphalt? Do you remember?
Second. I finished second to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in a
Whoa. We got a problem here.
Hold up. I'm coming off because I know nothing about racing.
Wait a minute. So you finished second in an asphalt car race to Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Absolutely. East Carolina Motor Speedway.
All right, I got to know more about this.
We actually rented the track, him and I together, to do some testing there. We were going to this big race there. It was called the East Carolina 300 or something. It was a 300 lap race. And we rented the track together. My kids were little. Well, they weren't really that little, but it rained almost the whole day. We spent most of the time trying to get the track dry. And it was that weekend. He sat on the pole and led every lap, and we finished second.
How old was Dale Jr. at this time, roughly?
I would say, well, he asked my daughter out that weekend. I would say he's probably 17, 18. I would say he's probably 17, 18 then. He had a late model car that was sponsored by Cheerwine, the soda company, and it was fun. It was fun. It was fun racing against him. We raced against him, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, not a ton. Because he raced mostly at Myrtle Beach Speedway in his late model days. So not really sure why he went down there, but he raced a lot at Myrtle Beach Speedway.
So were you just a racing fan, and that's what you did when you decided to get in the car and just go out and do some racing?
Yeah. Yep.
Who were some of your favorite drivers or people that inspired you to go out and go racing?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of late model guys back in the day. Billy Ballou, Billy Hot Shoe Ballou, some older guys that were really, really inspired me to go racing, that I wanted to go racing back in the day. But my favorite NASCAR guy was always Rusty Wallace.
Oh.
His dad knew my dad. My dad was a racer. And my dad was friends with Richard Petty and a bunch of other racing people.
And my dad was a drag racer though, and he drove this crazy car. It was a top fuel, not it was a fuel altered. They called him. It was called the Hustlin' Hillbilly. It was a crazy looking car, and he actually drove some top fuel funny cars and stuff like that back when I was a kid.
I used to watch that on TNN, America's Sports Cavalcade, I believe is what they called it back in the day on TNN. Yep. And they had the tractor pulls, and they had the top fuel and the funny car, and what was the pro stock. Used to watch all that back in the day.
Yeah.
Bob, what was the guy's name? Bob in the pro stock.
Bob Glidden.
Bob Glidden, right? And
Bob
John Force.
Yeah.
World of Outlaws. Was that ever a goal of yours to run World of Outlaws? Steve Kinzer, Sammy Swindell, those guys?
Never a goal, but man, those guys. I've had my. Should I switch back over to my computer since it's back up again?
Oh, we like this. Is great. This is
okay.
Perfect.
This is great. So yeah, I love World of Outlaw racing. I was and still am a huge Steve Kinzer fan. I loved it when he went to try and go cup racing. I think I mean, I'm excited that Kyle Larson's going to start racing some dirt again. I love that Tony Stewart's racing dirt again. So I mean, I love Mav TV, and I'm not as like I said, as bad as I used to be. Everything was racing. But I live in NASCAR heaven here in Charlotte, and pretty friendly with a lot of the guys. My daughter actually dated Elliott Sadler for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I see Jack Dodson just primed on. Jack Dodson is the one that hosts that Inside Racing. What's Jack's show called? Jack Dodson's. Anyway, he's the guy that had me on the race show last week. He just commented, I can't read it because I'm on a little video device.
A dirt legend is what he said.
A dirt legend. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. But I did love racing, and I really love dirt racing. I really think that if I'd have stayed dirt racing, I probably would have done some more fun, super late model racing, maybe raced with Bloomquist and all those guys. But for some reason, I don't know, the asphalt kind of intrigued me, and I wanted to chase that.
You went for it, just like you went for it today on our broadcast.
Yes, man.
Cable and just going for it. Dale Earnhardt Sr., I believe there's a quote, and you could tell me on this one, but if the radiator would fit between two cars, he was going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today, the radiator fit between two cars, and you win.
I did.
One final racing question, because this is a bowling program, and sometimes me going off on tangents people don't necessarily like, but this is my favorite part of the program, is having these public conversations with people. And Chuck, I can't believe we haven't talked about this in the past, just being at events together, but now we have stuff to talk about. You mentioned Rusty Wallace, and he's from Missouri. And
yes, he is.
And Rusty Wallace, Kenny Wallace, Mike Wallace, the whole Wallace family. My brother idolized them. My brother and I who watched NASCAR together. Rusty Wallace in the 27 Kodiak winning the championship, I believe, in 1989. Barry Dotson was his crew chief. The blue racing car. That's when I was watching NASCAR a lot with my brother. It brings back a lot of memories. I was talking about that earlier when you were away, about memories from my childhood. And I don't really like what NASCAR has become with restrictor plate racing and the car of tomorrows and all that. We can get off on that on another day. But my question for you is, with this passion for racing and this passion for bowling, if you had to do it all over again, you would have been able to have a career in racing or a career in bowling. What would your life look like different? And do you have any regrets? Tough question.
It's a very tough question. I think I love bowling, and I think if I really was able to pursue racing earlier, I won the NASCAR late model stock car rookie of the year at East Carolina Motor Speedway in 1993. And how old was I in 93? I was born in 59. So I was 30, 4 years old. And the guy that I beat out, Rusty Daniel, was like 17 years old. So there really wasn't a place when I started that late for me to ever go and make anything of it. But I still love racing. I want to show you a couple quick things, just real quick, that are on my wall here. Do you remember the most famous car that Rusty Wallace ever drove? Do you remember the name of the car?
Oh yes. Oh my! It was named after a woman, right? Wasn't it?
No, it was named Midnight.
Midnight. Okay.
Midnight.
A stripper name. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Here you
tired.
go. Here's Midnight.
Oh,
in front of Penske.
that is awesome. The Miller Genuine Draft #2 car.
You see this little jewel right here?
That is a jewel. Wow.
So this is not one of those plastic replica cars. This is not one of those. This is fiberglass. This is actually one of the molds that they poured the plastic cars in. There's only 5 of these. And I have one of them.
That is awesome, man. I'm drooling over here.
Yep. And there's Rusty and Davey.
Oh, Davey, man. Davey and Alan losing them in the same year.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
And there's Rusty going ARCA racing.
Oh, man.
The number 88 Gatorade car.
Man, I'm sorry we're having this public conversation for everybody. Hopefully you're getting something out of this, but I am just absolutely I am fanboying right here. Holy cow.
You see this? You see this Rusty Wallace hauler at Sports Emporium? Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Sports Emporium was my sports bar in Virginia. So we actually had car shows there and had some fun there. And people ask me all the time about what my favorite trophy I've ever won in my whole life. And I'm going to show it to you.
Okay.
This is my favorite trophy in my whole life that I've ever won. I don't know if you can read it or not.
Looks like a dirt track trophy.
It is a dirt track trophy for the most popular driver.
You and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have that in common.
Man, most popular driver, first place at Southampton Motor Speedway. So that was yeah. So that's my favorite trophy ever. Got a bunch of trophies from winning bowling tournaments and stuff, but that's my favorite trophy ever. Because it's more about I don't know, you did something good for people or did something to earn that. So.
And you won that in 19 what?
Oh, there's no year on it.
No. Just ballpark.
I would say it was 19 probably 90.
Okay. So
probably 1990.
30 years later, you're still doing good. You're still doing things in bowling. You don't look 60, Chuck. You're 61. You don't look 61 at all. As you outed your age earlier on the show.
I did.
Matt, come on back. We're gonna wrap up this show. I want to personally thank Chuck for doing that for us, for me, for taking me through that racing side of things. We could sit here and talk to you about Chuck on the Truck and who's your favorite person to drill balls for and all those sorts of things, but you can get that on any bowling show. Here, right. I knew you had a racing past. I didn't know how deep it was, but that was great. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. I love talking about racing too. I mean, I'm just so lucky. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Chuck. We really appreciate having you on today, you joining us, giving us a little bit more of information about you that probably a lot of people don't know. I know I didn't know a lot of this stuff about you, so it's cool. I want to thank you for coming on, taking the time to chat with us, and hopefully again in the future when we're a little bit more high value stream here, we'll be able to have you on again, and maybe we'll get you in a go-kart or something, and we'll get you racing on the track.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
That'd be fun. All right, guys, listen, thanks so much for having me. And I truly appreciate everything you guys do for the sport. And you guys do a wonderful job promoting the brands that you promote and your stuff you do for Bowler X. It's really kind of neat to watch and so professional. And I just love how you guys do it. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Chuck. We appreciate you coming on. We'll have you on again. Maybe we'll start InsideRacing.com and we can with all that.
You got it.
Use your connections to book all the great guests. So
absolutely. Have a great one.
All right. Thank you, Chuck.
All right.
Wow. So thanks, Matt, for that.
I know. I see you sweating over there, man. You were just like, you're ready to jump through the screen and start like looking at his collection there of racing memorabilia. And that's quite a man cave that he's got going right there.
Yeah. And I knew he had a dual passion, right? And I wasn't trying to put him on the spot to say, screw bowling. I would have rather done racing. Like, that's not what I was trying to do there. But it is difficult for people when they have to make choices in life. Just like a college student has to determine what their major is going to be. Do I take this job? Do I take this job? Do I quit my job, go out on my own? I've been faced with that before. Just different things like that. And it's interesting to see what paths people take and then ask them to actually truly think about what if they would have went the other way.
Yeah.
Or what if they would have found something sooner. And that's what I wanted to do with Chuck there. Plus, I knew there'd be some decent stories out of there. And if you are a racing fan at all, it's not easy to just all of a sudden build a car and go out and win on dirt. It's just not easy to do, but he was able to do it. So he had some talent there, right?
Yeah,
and that's something we see with a lot of bowlers is they're talented in other ways. You look at like Ronnie Russell or EJ Tackett, for instance, great golfers, right?
Rambo Ray, incredible gamer. You know,
right.
So many people have all these different talents.
And as you said on a Junior Gold vlog a couple of years ago, I'm good at a bunch of things that don't matter.
And speaking of racing, maybe tomorrow I'll pull up the clip of me beating you in that go-kart race from Junior Gold this past summer, just so I can make it clear that I am the best racer.
And we didn't get to the baseball card question. I was getting there, but I was taking you on a long journey. We'll get there on another day when a guest disconnects. So hopefully everybody enjoyed today's show. Matt, I'm glad you got your internet problems fixed. Looks like everything ran beautifully today.
Yes.
And our show went long today because of the disconnection and my racing fanboy. So hopefully you enjoyed the extended version of the show. We will be back tomorrow as we're doing this Monday through Friday every day. It's not getting old at all. And I love being here with you, Matt.
Yeah, I love being here with you too, Mike. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got another great show planned for tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. And hopefully forever to come. So I'm excited.
We got 2 guests already booked for the following week too. So we're going to keep this train rolling.
Let's just keep it rolling, man. Keep it rolling. All righty, buddy.
All right, for Matt, I'm Mike. Thanks for watching the Inside Bowling Show. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Go support Bowl for Life. Go check out bowlforlife.com. Make a donation if you can. If not, share everything they're doing so other people can. Have a good day, everybody.